expansive project.
Sorry, not the
But
first
you do
time.
seem
I'm
to have
sure
a
that I'm
lot
not
of
the only
people
one. Sorry about that.
enthusiastically participating
Yes.
and contributing.
Well, thank you
to
very
it.
much
So,
for that.
I congratulate you even on
Sorry,
reaching
not
the
the first
current
time. I'm sure
state
that
where
I'm not the
you
only one. Sorry about that.
managed to input
Yes, well,
the
thank you very much for that
Neelakanta's
presentation. I'm
commentary
quite
on the
thrilled.
Mahabharata,
Presentation.
along with the
I congratulate you even
Sorry,
reaching not the first time. I'm sure that I'm not the only one. Sorry about
made
that.
that available
Yes, well, thank you.
scripts in a way that can be searched. That's the main thing from the point of view of the scholarly community, is to be able to find things. Not long ago, someone working on the history of yoga asked me about, he had seen in some other Sanskrit work a reference to Nilakanta discussing Dattatreya, a text by Dattatreya, somewhere in the Shanti Parvan, and asked me where it was, and I didn't know. And I looked in the places I thought likely, didn't find it. And eventually someone found it in that Bengali edition, I think, that you mentioned. But a searchable text would have made that a much simpler task, and that publication would not have been held up for 6 months while he tried to find that source. So I congratulate you on that. Nilakanta is himself a very interesting person. I've written a number of articles about him, as you say, a figure of the 17th century. He was a Deccan Brahmin from the Godavari River region. He lived in a village called Karpura Grama, which is Kopargaon, and moved, like many Deccan Brahmins, moved to Benares in that period, where there was a great influx of these Deccan Brahmins who became very influential in the intellectual life of the city. It had some dealings with the Mughal court, mostly through their courtiers, whose names you probably know, and who produced a great deal of Sanskrit literature, commentary, Dharmashastra, and so on in that period, which became the definitive works since then. So I won't go through the list of these figures, but Nilakanta was one of them. His son was also active there in Benares. Nilakanta had a number of brothers. I suspect that Nilakanta had help from a couple of his brothers in writing the commentary on some of the later Parvans. I think some of the manuscript evidence suggests that. But he's a very interesting figure. I actually am interested in him for other things he wrote, because he's most famous for the commentary on the Mahabharata, but he wrote a number of other works which are still quoted today. He was an Advaitin, so he does belong on your website, given its focus elsewhere. But he seems to have had some disagreements with Appaya Dikshita, the great South Indian figure of a century earlier, and he talks about them in some of these other works. Many things that he talks about elsewhere are also found in abbreviated form in places in the Mahabharata commentary. But he's also famous. This is what fascinated me initially for these other works, where he goes to the Rig Veda and he picks out mantras of the Rig Veda and then comments on them in such a way that he has them retell the story of, in one case, the Ramayana, and in another case, the Bhagavata. So these works, one is called the Mantra Ramayana, which has been published. One is called the Mantra Bhagavata, and another is called the Mantra Kashi Kanda. So that Stela Mahatmya of Kashi, he finds verses of the Rig Veda, which he then uses as the basis for sort of eliciting the text of the Kashi Kanda. So it's a quite fascinating project, a very imaginative one. Lots of very clever ideas being deployed there. So I just became interested in why he would be interested in doing that and where his commentary in the Mahabharata connected to these other projects. So I'm only regret that this was not available 25 years ago when I started writing about Nilakanta, about I still have some years left, and I'm still working on a book on him. So I'm sure that I will find this. Many other scholars will find this project extremely useful. And thank you very much for having done it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Minkowski. Maybe next in the order we could go to Kushagra Niket.
Thank you so much for inviting me and for that wonderful presentation. Just looking at the efforts that you and your team have put into this really makes me very delighted. My congratulations and sadhuvad to all the members of this effort, especially under your leadership, Professor Yogananda ji. As you have clearly shown, you've made it your mission to digitalize the vast corpus of our Shastras, which until a few years ago were very difficult to find. And you've started with the core Vedantic texts, now moving on to Itihasa Purana, and now to the commentary section of these works. It is really very fortunate for all of us to have access to the digital edition of the Mahabharata along with Nilakantha commentary. As we all know, Nilakantha's commentary is one of the last in the set of traditional commentaries on the Mahabharata, which started with Vimala Bodha and Deva Bodha back in the 11th century. In fact, some of those commentaries have also been published. For example, Deva Bodha's commentary was published, at least a part of it, by the Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute. So in the future, maybe that is an additional project for the team here to do the correspondence and add Sri Deva Bodha's commentary also to this corpus. Many times when you see Nilakantha's commentary, for good or bad, he has also subsumed the commentaries that have come before him. For example, Arjuna Mishra's commentary is not published, at least I could not find it, but Nilakantha quotes him, and per the works published by Bori, it seems that he has already subsumed some of the works that Arjuna Mishra had, or some of the things that Arjuna Mishra had to say about the Mahabharata in his work. So it is fortunate that we have access to some of the prior Sanskrit commentaries, at least their core ideas, through the works of Nilakantha. As Professor Minkowski was rightly saying, Nilakantha is also known for some of the other works such as Mantra Bhagavata and Mantra Ramayana. These are also very, very ingenious works that we have. For example, very recently I was hearing that there was a Katha Vachaka who had reinterpreted the Mahamrityunjay mantra in favor of the story of Sri Ram by reinterpreting the word Trayambaka. Tisrau amba Tisrah amba yasya sah Trayamba Trayamba eva Trayambaka. So that was the way he reinterpreted the word as having signifying Sri Rama with his three mothers, Kausalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumitra. But I was when I saw that, my mind immediately went to the work of Sri Nilakantha, because he had already done some of these correspondences and reinterpretation of the verses of Rig Veda. There are many other areas in which Nilakantha's commentary is very interesting. For example, as we all know, tradition holds that about 8,800 verses of the Mahabharata are considered Kuta shlokas. No one has done, to my knowledge, a fully comprehensive identification of these Kuta shlokas. In fact, if you start identifying them, it often appears that some of those may have been seen as Kuta because there was probably a missing verse between them, or a verse before that, which we may have lost. And therefore, the meaning of the verse which stands in front of us has become a little opaque. Nilakantha is very helpful in deciphering the meaning of some of these Kuta shlokas, though often he also adds his own interpretation, which you may disagree with. So when you do the correspondence with Nilakantha and Devabodha, you would be able to see some of the disagreements that are there in the commentary tradition. I'll give you a few examples. For example, this very famous verse, which has been regarded as a Kuta shloka, Arjunasya eme bana, neme bana shikhandinah, Chindanti mam gatrani maghamase gavamiva. So here the phrase maghamase gavamiva has sparked a lot of debate in the commentary tradition, and different people have tried to explain it in different ways. The way Nilakantha has done it is that he has invented two words. He has said Magama Karkati Prokta Tadapatyam to Segava. Magama is the name of the female crab, and Segava is its offering, is its offspring. And therefore, just as the offspring of a crab eats its own mother, so does Arjuna's arrows pierce me. This is what Bhishma says. Now, this is not supported by the koshas that were available at the time of Nilakantha, and there are other alternative explanations possible, including the one given by Devabodha. But the very fact that you have now put it all in front of our eyes in a digital format will enable a lot of us enthusiasts as well as other scholars to explore these disagreements as well as reinterpretations which are possible in this text. So I really congratulate you for that. The significance of Nilakantha's commentary can also be underscored by the fact that the Clay Sanskrit library is utilizing not the critical edition, but the edition which was available to Nilakantha for its translation. So with this corpus being available to us, and now with the possibilities of future correspondences with other translations, other commentaries, this is I'm sure going to be a very fruitful project for everyone who is interested in the Mahabharata. So my congratulations to you and pranams to everyone.
Thank you, Kushagra. We can next. What's up?
May I say something? I am Ratna Basu.
Please, madam, go ahead, please.
May I talk now?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, I wait.
Madam, can you please turn on the camera, Professor Ratna Basu?
Oh. Trying.
Yeah, you can speak now.
Okay now?
Yeah. Namaskar.
Yes. Namaskar. I am very happy that Mr. Ankit and Mr. Sheeb mentioned about Arjuna Mishra, another Bengali commentator. Arjuna Mishra hailed from Bengal, the Borendra Bhumi, which has produced many Sanskrit Shastrakaras, commentators, poets, and so on. And Arjuna Mishra commented upon all the 18 Parvans, and further, he also commented upon the Harivansha. And Arjuna Mishra is unique in the thought that he argued about Harivansha's inclusiveness within the Mahabharata. Arjuna Mishra did not believe that Harivansha is an appendix only or an extended portion. He argued that it is an integral part of the 18 Parvan Mahabharata, and he commented upon it. And Arjuna Mishra profusely mentions Devabodha, Vimalabodha, Shandilya, Madhava, and Sarvagga, and his own father, who was a reciter of the Mahabharata, the Pathaka. And both his father, Ishano Bhattacharya, and himself, Arjuna Mishra, had acquired the title Bharatacharya, and his father was Pathaka Raja, so as the reciter. And why does he mention his father? Because his father, while reciting, he did not only recite the text. All these vachakas or pathakas always interpreted in between with stories and illustrations and elaborations. I would like to add only that since a couple of years, I am working on Arjuna Mishra and his commentary and the manuscripts available of Arjuna Mishra's commentary, Bharatartha Deepika or Mahabharatartha Deepika or Mahabharatartha Pradipika or Bharatartha Pradipika. Anyway, Bharatartha Deepika is always there. So it is to be noted that some portions of Arjuna Mishra's commentary, for example, Bhishma Parvan Complete, has been published and available in print in a journal in Kolkata. It is published from Howrah. And now I am and also the concluding Parvans of the Mahabharata, starting from Ashwamedhika Parva up to the end, the commentary on this portion has also been published in the journal of the Department of Sanskrit of Jadavpur University, Kolkata. At the present, the Shalla Parvan, the Soptika Parvan, and Stri Parvan are within it, all the Upaparvans are there, are ready for print. So, and very long ago, portions of the Virata Parvan and the Udyoga Parvan were published from some press in Mumbai, Bombay, now Mumbai, but they are not available now. I have a scanned copy or something like that, a reprographic copy with me. Anyway, I think these pieces of information, because Arjuna Mishra precedes Nilakanta Chaturdhara, as the previous scholars have mentioned, and he belonged to, Arjuna Mishra hailed from the final concluding part of the 14th century CE or the beginning of the 15th century CE. So he is about 150 years prior to Nilakanta Chaturdhara, Nilakanta Sharma. So these are the points, and I appreciate and highly praise the noble project which has been taken up by Dr. Jogananda and his team. And I am very happy and thankful to you all for inviting me to join this discussion on this portfolio to be released on Nilakantha Mahabharata. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
namaskar.
Vasu. We can move on to Srivatsa. Also, if there are people joining us online on the YouTube live stream, feel free to post your questions in the comment. Best effort basis, I can.
I would like to say the total documentation of all the manuscripts of Arjuna Mishra's commentary as available in different manuscript repositories of Bengal have been completely documented by me, and that was published, more than 50 pages, published in the Journal of the Sanskrit College and University some years back.
Valuable information.
That documentation of Arjuna Mishra, availability of Arjuna Mishra's commentaries as available in manuscript, it was very difficult to get hold of or to reach to this manuscript because they are all scattered. It was nowhere noted. They were all, because they were not catalogued or even listed, not even enlisted. I just from scratches, I detected the commentaries of Arjuna Mishra and their manuscripts in these different repositories. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam.
Could I just pertinent to Professor Basu's point, could I just add one footnote? And I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to mention that the Staatsbibliothek in Berlin has a number of Sanskrit manuscripts of the Mahabharata with commentaries. And they have been putting scans of the entire commentary online. So they have a couple of the early parvans of Arjuna Mishra are now available online. I think it is the Udyoga and the Adi Parvan, and they're about to put their manuscript of the Bhishma Parvan online as well. Just a bit of information. So that's, they're huge files. It takes a while to download them, but they
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Namaste. Namaste, Vibhya. Thank you for inviting me to this event and for the informative presentation earlier. I don't have much to add to what has already been said. Being a mere enthusiast and not a scholar, all I can say is this is a highly useful project. It's very valuable to be able to read Neelakanta's commentary as searchable text without having to find the book in print or struggle through scans that are not always readable, as you showed. It is great that you have had the scans digitized with the help of expert scholars, which makes them reliable. I have looked a bit into English translations of the Mahabharata, and I think Neelakanta has a big influence on all of them. The very first translation into English, which was published by P.C. Roy and later revealed to be almost entirely the work of Kisari Mohan Ganguly, it mentions in its in its introduction, or maybe towards the end, that everywhere, wherever there was any difficulty in interpretation, he has followed Nilakanta. And I think the second translation by Manmathanatha Datta, that also relied heavily on the earlier one. And as mentioned by Kushagra Niketji, the Clear Sanskrit Library volumes of the Mahabharata, whatever was published while it was active, they also used Nilakanta's text, specifically the Chitrashala press edition, if I remember correctly, maybe wrong. But anyway, that it used the text as commented on by Nilakanta. So in this way, I think all the available English translations of the Mahabharata have always all been influenced by Nilakanta. So it's great to finally have access to the original text. And it's also good that you have published the scans that you used as a source. So in case there is any confusion, you can always, somebody in principle could go and compare against the text. Yeah, I think in these days where, sorry to bring the topic to AI as everyone keeps talking about, but there is a general trend to rely on summaries and summaries of summaries, and which may have all sorts of hallucinations and whatnot. And people are many people are very content with not the original. So where I think that fortunately it's good that there is also a trend in the other direction to go back and look at the source. And I think for those who want to, for those who don't subscribe to the idea of having AI read the text so that you don't have to, and who want to read the text themselves, this is a really valuable resource. I'm very glad it exists. Wish you the best for all the future work on this and other projects. Thank you.
Brought up AI. AI has helped accelerate this project. We're not necessarily in terms of reading the summaries, but in terms of getting the technology to get all these things put together, I think AI has been a huge role. So I think I would say that it kind of speeded up the project by about, say, maybe 6 months. So that's where the idea is. Certainly not in terms of reading the summary, but in terms of getting this project on a fast track, I think that's certainly been a very useful stuff.
Amrita Nathu.
Yes. Yeah, thanks for making this text available online in such a thoroughly searchable format. I'm sure it will be very useful to the researchers. So congratulations to the entire team. I would like to say a few points about the manuscripts of Nilakanta's commentary at the Bhandarkar Institute. So in our library, we have more than 350 manuscripts of the epic. There are about 50 manuscripts, 350 out of 350 manuscripts of the epic. There are about 50 that comprise the commentary of Nilakantha, and 90%. I'm sorry, I hope my connection is okay. So I will just put off my camera, turn off it. In the manuscripts library, as I said, 50 manuscripts are there, which comprise Nilakantha's commentary, and 90% of these manuscripts actually come from the manuscript collection of the Peshwas, that is, which is called Vishram Bagwada collection. So the royal collection has about 45 manuscripts of this commentary. But as we know, it was not popular. It was popular not just in Maharashtra, but in the entire country. So Suktankar has recorded that Sharada paper manuscripts containing this commentary were found in the Raghunath Temple library. Then he states that he had come across manuscripts of Nilakantha's version written in Sharada, Bengali, Telugu, Grantha scripts. So this indicates the popularity of the commentary. As we know, this version, Nilakantha's version of the Mahabharata, served as the Vulgate for the critical edition of the Mahabharata. But only 3 manuscripts of this version were selected by Suktankar for the critical edition of the Adi Parvan. One of the reasons was that there is little difference between various manuscripts of this commentary. And this is, of course, not surprising. Nilakantha's Mahabharata is one of the latest versions of the epic. But because of this, we can say it has remained the most uncontaminated version of the Mahabharata. So this is another factor why this commentary is really important. So, I mean, this is great work that you have done. This will be really helpful for the researchers. So I thank the organizers for inviting me and wish every success to their endeavor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amrita.
Girish, someone is there on the line. Girish Chaudhary, we were hoping, he said if the connection is right, he might just put it. Then I think we can continue.
Yeah, if there are any closing thoughts or comments from any of the panelists, you are welcome. Otherwise, I'll hand it over to Professor Yogananda to add a closing note.
Yeah, so we look forward to, and this session was very helpful. So a lot of information, and this is exactly the reason why we wanted to put it in this form and also. So whatever Professor Ratnapashu said and Professor Minkowski said, Kushagra, we can definitely bring all that, and I look forward to bringing Arjun Mishra's commentary also on these lines. That would be wonderful. So we'll be soon in contacting you all, and we'll be in touch with you to take this work further. So I think the launch event will also be streamed, and we will send you the link, and look forward to continuing collaboration with all of you. Thank you very much. Now we end with peace prayer. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Namaskar.